But it did feel like to me, 23-15 Dolphins win over the LA Rams. It was the rare NFL game in the middle of a season that I thought could have turned around a franchise. And this happens in the NFL a lot. I'll get to that in a second. But Tua is healthy. He was tremendous on third down. Should have beaten Buffalo. And they dominated a Rams team on the key down. Third down offense, third down defense. And remember this, schedules matter. The schedule gets really easy for the Dolphins. Jets twice, Browns, New England Raiders. Easiest remaining NFL schedule. So every season there is a team in about week 9, 10, 11 that catches fire. Last year it was the Rams. Remember, they won 7 of their last 8. They were a bad team, unhealthy. Then they got hot, went to the playoffs. 2022, it was the Bengals. Bengals were back and forth. They were 4-4, got red hot, went 12-4, lost close to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Remember the Brady Buccaneers. People forget this. They were 7-5 going into the Week 13 bye, and the schedule lightened up. Detroit, Atlanta a couple times. Detroit wasn't as good as they are now. All of a sudden, Bruce Arians, Brady are clashing. They're 7-5. They go into a bye. They get red hot. This happens every year. And I look at Miami's schedule. I look at the way they played. They should have beaten Buffalo. The schedule gets weak. Listen, the Rams have a great coach, an excellent quarterback, and a good young roster, especially on defense. And I mean, that game, I don't care what the score was. The Rams were chasing the Dolphins for 3.5 hours. That was the Dolphins game from the very first drive. And you know what? I've said before, there are limitations to what Tua can do. But in that second half, and on third down, he went for the game 9 of 12 for 140 yards just on third down. And that is an excellent, young, albeit young, excellent Rams defensive front. And he tore them apart. So we can say what we want about Tua. He may have limitations, but I watch him in Buffalo on the road, then fly cross-country against that Rams defensive front, and Tua was exceptional. This is a good team. In the rest of the division, New England's going nowhere. Jets are man overboard. Buffalo's already won this thing 3 weeks ago. So, this is a real time for Miami. I've seen Cincinnati do this. I saw Brady win a Super Bowl. I saw the Rams do it last year. Rams' schedule gets harder. This may have been the game that starts them careening down the wrong path. But I felt, and I don't feel this a lot, you get to week 10 and 11, you kind of know what you have. But Tua didn't play. They were banged up. They couldn't be healthy. And their backup situation at quarterback in Miami is actually one of the worst in the league. So backup quarterbacks, not very good. Schedule was tougher. Now the schedule lightens up. Tua is healthy. I got to be honest. I watched that game last night, and I have high regard for the Rams staff. They got worked. They got out-coached, out-hustled, out-toughed, out-play. Stafford wasn't as good on third down as Tua was. Here's Tua after the game and what the win could mean.
I think it's, a testament to the character of this team. We've come a long way through however many losses in a row. The resilience of this team with the external noise, everyone counting us out. Hopefully this is an opportunity for us to not waste. Hopefully we can go on a run with this win and find our rhythm towards the back end of this season.
Well, Jets twice, they're a mess. Raiders, mess. New England, limited. Cleveland, mess. All on the schedule. Quarterbacks back, schedule weakens, and the rest of the division outside of Buffalo, kind of a mess. I like where Miami's at. Big win for them. All right, so this morning, we knew something was coming. Something had to happen. The first of many moves over the next few months. Shane Waldron, Bears offensive coordinator, out. It doesn't really matter whose fault it is. So Chicago's got a lot of things working against him here. Number one is you just missed on another young quarterback, Justin Fields, and you screwed that up. Although I don't think he's nearly as good a prospect or a player as Caleb Williams, but you missed on that. So you're not going to, you don't get any excuses now. You don't get a go, well, we missed on Trubisky, we missed on Justin Fields, we missed on Caleb Williams. No, it's coaching. The second thing is, Caleb Williams, maybe he wasn't Andrew Luck as a prospect. Maybe he wasn't even Joe Burrow as a prospect. But most executives thought the dude could really play. His comp was Mahomes. Trubisky and Justin Fields, you're off the hook a little because they haven't done anything since they left Chicago. So it's like, well, they weren't very good. Caleb Williams is way closer to Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, and Joe Burrow. NFL executives, if they didn't love him, they thought he was a really good, solid prospect. And here's the other thing, and I think everybody listening or watching this show knows this. This doesn't help either. Bo Nix is getting better. He outplayed Mahomes this weekend. He's getting better fast. Jaden Daniels, he looked good by week 2. So all of a sudden you start making comps, and you're like, yeah, this is an indictment on the franchise. And the other thing is, it is easy to blame the quarterback. And I do think all the little flaws with Caleb Williams, runs around a little too much, accuracy a little inconsistent, they're all flaring up now. Jaden Daniels, he's a little thin. Will he stay healthy? He did get banged up for one game, but he's available. Bo Nix, not a great deep ball arm. We've seen that. Scouts usually know what they're doing, especially when they all converge in a player and all have similar opinions. Caleb's, the 2 NFL GMs I talked to on Caleb are like, big-time athlete, worry about his consistent accuracy. We've seen that. He has been a big-time athlete. But it's your job as a football staff to develop young players. It's like parenting. You know what you're getting into. You draft a young quarterback. Even if they're gifted, you have a gifted child, it doesn't ensure success. And the other thing that is really working against Chicago is Caleb, we may forget it now. He had a 3-game stretch earlier in the season where we saw the talent. Yeah, he had a 3-game stretch where he completed 74% of his throws. So we know he's talented. We saw it when he had less practices and less games and less reps. So he is just fallen off a cliff, and that's going to go to the coaches. And so something clearly is not working. And, yesterday we had a guest on, Matt Hasselbeck, 18 years in the league. And again, you can point fingers at whoever you want. Some of it absolutely, no question, is on Caleb.
I would say 90% of it is on the quarterback. Like if I'm coaching the quarterback, and there were 9 sacks yesterday, I'm putting at least 6 of those on the quarterback. And just like with Russell Wilson, like we're sitting here talking about the deep ball to Mike Williams. He knows like that's a blitz situation. Like Caleb, he's a young quarterback. So I'm not trying to throw stones at him because of the mistakes. I'm not surprised by the mistakes. I think just expectations are going to be higher because you do have guys like Jaden Daniels playing such good football. Bo Nix is playing good football. Drake May's even playing good football. And so I think the Boo Birds are going to be out with Caleb.
I don't disagree with that, but because you missed on Trubisky and Justin Fields, because Caleb has had some really good weeks this year, and because of the Bears' history screwing up quarterbacks, it doesn't really matter if it's Caleb's fault. It's parenting. You got to be up for the challenge. This is your job, to deal with challenges. There are no easy kids. There are easier kids. There are no perfect easy kids. It is a challenge. And so that's where we're at today. Shane Waldron's out. I think there's more to come. I don't buy that Eberflus is safe. But, I'm not a fan of defensive coaches. I would go the other way with an offensive coach. But in fairness, Sean McDermott has had success as a defensive coach with Josh Allen. John Harbaugh's not an offensive coach with Lamar Jackson. Mike Tomlin has had a great turnaround season offensively with Russell Wilson. Raheem Morris is working with Kirk Cousins. They lead their division. So you could go defense again, but as I pointed out for years with Chicago, they're still living off the 85 Bears. It's a very defensive, blue-collar, tough guy culture. That is fine. Dave Wannstedt won there. But I think it's time, if you look at the end of seasons, the 4 coaches left, the 8 coaches left, it is overwhelmingly offensive guys, and you've got to fix this kid. You got to fix him. I mean, again, if you don't end up giving him an extension in 4 years, that's going to be really an indictment. You may just have to go to the market and buy somebody, but this may not be a perfect player, but he's way closer as a comp to a Mahomes, who people privately thought was a star, thought was the next Favre, a Luck, a Burrow, than he is Trubisky and Justin Fields. Those guys had Trubisky. I didn't even get the Trubisky thing. I'm not a scout. I didn't get it at all.